Hey, I know that when you're thinking about a move to a new city, one of the first things that crosses your mind is what part of town should I be looking at? Where would I actually enjoy living? And where, even more importantly, where would I actually be able to afford to buy a house, right? Some of these places are out of sight. And so I know that if you're thinking about a move to Tucson, you've got those same thoughts going through your mind, right? Where in Tucson would I like to live? Where in Tucson am I going to get the kind of home that I want? And so what Darcy and I have done is compiled a list of the 5 most popular parts of town that people ask us about when they inquire about making that move to Tucson. And so what we want to do is share that list with you, and let's get after it right now. Hey everybody, Paul Dunn here. I am a local real estate agent with eXp Realty right here in Tucson, Arizona, and I'm also a licensed mortgage loan originator with Nexa Mortgage serving the entire state. So super cool there. I can help everybody on both sides. So if this is your first time on the channel, or you'd like to know everything there is to know about living in Tucson, hanging out in Tucson, chilling in Tucson, working, all that stuff, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button, click the little bell over there, and you'll be notified every single time we drop a brand new video. Now, Darcy and I get calls every single day from people just like you who are thinking about making that move to Tucson, and we absolutely love it. So if you're thinking about making that move, give us a call, send us a text signal, smoke signal, carrier pigeon, email, I don't care. Just reach out to us, and we'd love to offer you our assistance any way we possibly can. So today we're going to do things a little differently. Instead of me just sitting up here and talking to the camera and showing you around, what we're going to do is flip the camera around, and I'm going to do a screen share. And we're going to start on a map, and we're going to look at some websites like niche.com, and we're going to do a deep dive into these 5 different areas so that you can get a real good idea of what they're like, and if they're places that you would possibly like to take a look at living, or even better yet, more importantly, if there's some place that you would absolutely hate and want to avoid, and you can just X them off the list and do away with them.
Off the list.
But before we get into that, I have a real quick question for you. Since you are on the channel, and we're basically always talking about making that move to Tucson, I know that you're thinking about making a move, whether it's to Tucson or someplace else. In that comment box below, would you just do me a little favor and drop me why it is that you're thinking about making a move? Is it for job opportunities? Is it for cost of living? Is it for better weather? Is it to get out of the snow? Just put it in the comment box below because we'd love to know. All right, so let's flip the camera around, open up the maps, and get started. So coming in at number 5 is going to be Vail, Arizona. So right now I am on the niche.com website, and we're looking at Vail. And they say something really cool that if you're thinking about moving to Vail would actually really support that decision, is they say that Vail is number 2 in best suburbs to buy a house in all of Arizona. And one of the reasons it's probably not a little higher is because of where they grade them as a C+ on nightlife. And so let's actually go take a look at the map, and I'll show you why. So here's Vail, and I'm going to zoom out now so you can get an idea of where Vail is in relationship to Tucson proper. So Tucson is just up the road to the north, a little bit west, about 28 miles, right? And so given the fact that there's not a lot of restaurants or shopping or anything here in Vail, if you are going to want to go hit the town, you're going to be driving a half hour at least each way to make that. But on the other side of the coin, if you're living up in Marana, up here, you're doing the same thing. So let's zoom in to Vail, and I'll show you some different areas. And oh, by the way, some of the major employers down there, you're going to find the U of A Tech Park, which used to be IBM. You're going to find Raytheon, Davis-Monthan Air Force Base, and those are probably the 3 biggest employers I know of. As we're down here, right, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. Just to the west, you're going to find the Pima County Fairgrounds, as well as the Tucson Speedway and the Tucson Dragway. So if those are things you enjoy, then Vail could be a real good place for you. You'll notice that the freeway cuts right smack down through the middle of Vail. On the south side is going to be mostly housing, maybe a little bit of commercial. On the north side of that is going to be where you're going to find additional housing, obviously, but it's where you're going to find your restaurants and your shopping, such as a Safeway and stuff. As we're looking at new builds here, you're going to find new builds mostly in this area up here, right? And so those are a little bit elevated, so you're going to get somewhat of a view from there. And then you've got the golf course right here, Del Lago Golf Club. And let's go over to realtor.com real quick, because what I want to do here is give you an idea of the housing prices in the different areas of Vail. So let's kind of scroll in a little bit. And you'll see down here, this says 125. That's probably just a lot. There's not a whole lot for sale right down there right now. But as we go up north, you'll see where a lot of the new builds are up here. You're going to find properties that are in the $1 million. But having said that, if you look over here to the left, the median listing price right now in Vail is going to be about $391, and that is fairly accurate. So that gives you a good idea. It's going to be a little bit less as we get into this area. Not a whole lot less, but a little bit less. That was Vail. That's number 5. Let's move on to number 4. And coming in at number 4 on our list of most popular places people ask us about would be Oro Valley. Oro Valley is just to the north of Tucson. It's a neat little town. When we first moved to Tucson from Seattle back in 2016, that's where we ended up living. And I'll actually show you the subdivision. It's actually pretty cool. And we absolutely loved it. Now, right now we're on niche.com again. Oro Valley is number 2 in best suburbs to live in Tucson. So let's go over here into the map real quick. Here is Oro Valley, right? It's a pretty good sized area. I believe there's about 45,000 people that live there right now. There's lots of golf opportunities. There's lots of hiking opportunities. There are some new builds still going in on here, but you have all sorts of different types of properties too. You've got some more of the older styles, more of the mid-century moderns down here, but the majority of the stuff that you're going to see is probably going to be built in the 80s and later, right? So one of the things that's cool about Oro Valley is it nestles right up here to the Push Ridge Wilderness area, the Catalina State Park. And so there's an awful lot of really good hiking there. You get some great sunrises coming over Mount Lemmon. You get some great sunsets that get reflected, and the mountains actually turn pink. As we're going along down here, you'll see there's an awful lot of subdivisions. There's Cañada Ridge and Naranja Ranch. There is Copper Creek, and this is where we lived when we first moved to town. But we got golf all over the place. Someplace that's really popular right now too is the Rancho Vistoso area, right? Those are really popular area. In the Honeybee Canyon Estates, more on the high-end stuff. If you're looking for somewhat of a really custom build and want to spend upwards of $1 million plus at the time of this recording, you can look up over here, up in this area as well. So let's actually go over to realtor.com. So when we were at Vail, the median home price, I believe, was $391. We're $100,000 more here in Oro Valley. So right there, you're going to get a little less for your money, and you're going to spend a little bit more too. And as we zoom in on the map, you can get a really good idea of the different types of prices. And we range all over the place here. So in Rancho Vistoso, you're going to see anything from the 300s up to the mid 6s, right? Down here on the golf course or near the golf course, you're going to be, for most of the properties that we see up there, are going to be at least 500, probably on up to about 800 as well. If you go up to some of this new construction up here, you're going to see that can get upwards of almost $4 or $5 million too. So you've got a big variety there. So as far as neighboring areas too, getting to the freeway, you take Tangerine here, it's about a 15-minute drive, right? And so if you want to go down to downtown Tucson, you're typically not going to come over here and drive the 15, 20 minutes to get to the freeway, but you're going to just take Oracle and head on down. Let's take a look at number 3. So coming in at number 3 is going to be Marana, Arizona. So over here on niche.com, you'll see that they say that Marana is number 3 best suburbs to buy a house in all of Arizona. Now, I don't really think of Marana as a subdivision so much as just a huge area because it's enormous. Now, I'll show you why here on the map. But I think the one thing that's bringing it down would be what they call the nightlife, and they're giving it a B-. And when we go to the map, which we're going to do right now, you'll understand why fairly quickly. So here is the area of Marana. It's all this red outline area here. But if you look over here at Oro Valley, it's huge compared to Oro Valley, right? Marana is 122 square miles. To the north on I-10, you're going to take this to get up to Phoenix, right? So let me zoom up a little bit. So if you need to go to the airport, you're about an hour 15 from Marana to being at the airport up here in Phoenix. So as I scroll back in to Marana here, you'll see that we're just a hop, skip, and a jump away from Tucson. So depending on where in Marana that you live, it's going to take you maybe 10 to 15 to maybe a half hour to get to downtown Tucson if you want to go hang out down there and enjoy some of those restaurants and bars, which is, by the way, really cool. So if you're looking at new construction in Marana, one of the most popular places that we are selling homes in right now is Saguaro Bloom. It's a really cool subdivision up here. Again, we sell a lot of homes here. You're on the back side of what's called Sombrero Peak, so you get some really neat views of the back of that mountain as well. You've got a great location. So as I scroll out a little more, let's look for some more new build areas. So up here, this is the Ritz-Carlton, and they have some fantastic hiking up in this area. You're going to find some fantastic new builds up here, but be prepared to spend some money, probably about $1 million plus. The Dove Mountain Golf Club is probably one of the premier golf clubs in all of Arizona. So if you're a golfer, definitely something that you're going to want to check out. So we have no shortage of new builds here in the Marana area. There's a lot of land, and so that's probably one of the reasons it's the second fastest growing area in all of Arizona. So here's one of the subdivisions that I really like. It's called Sky Ranch. I'm going to zoom in a little bit because one of the cool things about this is all these areas right here between the homes, that's all wildlife preserve. And so there's not a home inside of Sky Ranch that backs up and looks at another home. As we scroll out a little bit, you're going to see that on this side of the freeway down here is going to be more of your rural areas. So if you're looking for acreage, or really if you want to buy a manufactured home and plop it down on some acreage, this is probably the area that you're going to end up doing. If you are looking to be more towards the golf clubs or shopping or restaurants, you're probably going to be looking down in this area. And these homes, they've been built from anything from like 1980 on up. As far as your luxury homes, you're looking in this whole area up here. This is a super high-end subdivision where the lot premiums are going for $400,000 plus. So if you're looking for something with fantastic views and acreage, this is someplace that you would want to be looking at as well. And coming in at number 2 is going to be Catalina Foothills. We get a lot of calls from people wanting to know about the Cat Foot area. And over here on niche.com, check this out. They are saying that Catalina Foothills, affectionately known as Catfoot, is the #1 best suburb to live in Arizona. I can't argue against that at all. It's a wonderful area. Everybody that we've sold property to or sold property that's moved from there has said that that's their favorite place in Arizona. And so here's where every place else has been kind of struggling lately, has been on nightlife. Now, I'm going to show you the map, and you'll understand instantly why people like Catfoot. So let's go over here to the map. Here's the map area of Cat Foothill. Remember how Oro Valley was up here, nestled against the Push Ridge Mountains? Catfoot is on the kind of the other side of that, right? You can have some amazing views of the mountains, but check this out. Because it's elevated a little bit, you get amazing views of downtown Tucson when the city lights are going. So there's a lot to be said for the views, and I think that that's one of the main reasons people really like the Catfoot area. You're not going to find an awful lot of new builds in the Catfoot area. You're going to find a lot of little mid-century moderns, and many of them have been actually remodeled or rehabbed. But what's interesting is some of these people that buy these things just love them so much and are so into it that they kind of retroize them. I don't know if retroize is even a word, but they bring them back to kind of like the original state with all new stuff. It's really cool. There's some great golfing, but what's even more important too is look at the location. If you want to get to downtown Tucson, I mean, you just hop on one of these roads and you're right there, right? There's lots of great restaurants and stores right in these areas down here. So there's no lack of anything to do. Some of these properties are going to have some larger lot sizes. And again, this is probably one of the more established neighborhoods in all of Tucson. So check this out. You've got the West End La Paloma Resort and Spa right here. Really popular place. We sell a lot of properties right up in this area too. And I think part of the reason that people like this area is because it's close to Ina, where they can get over to Oracle and go up north and south, right? Another area that's really popular is going to be right down around here too. And believe it or not, the reason people like this area is because they want to be by Whole Foods. Yes, we do get people that say, I want to buy a house that's close to Whole Foods. And so they get attracted to the Catalina Foothills area, and they end up buying, somewhere in this area here. And so the number one place that people tend to ask us about is Central Tucson. And when I'm talking about Central Tucson, right here we are looking at the map of what the MLS, the multiple listing service, declares is actual Central Tucson. But when people are talking to us or calling us about Central Tucson, they're really mostly talking about this area right here, the part that encompasses Tucson and down here to Barrio Viejo, and then over this way, and then kind of up. It encompasses a lot of the historic areas, kind of like the Blenman Elm Historic District, the Sam Hughes Historic District. And part of the reason that people tend to really like these areas is the proximity to the University of Arizona. We sold a home recently just right in this area, and the home buyers, they can actually from their front porch sit out there and see the stadium, the football stadium. So that's really, really cool. And so again, some of the more popular places, number one is going to be Sam Hughes. Blenman Elm is also incredibly popular. And so is the Broadmoor Broadway area. That's really popular as well. And in fact, if we go over here to niche.com, they're going to rank Broadmoor Broadway as the number one best place to live in Tucson. So let's just click on that one. They give it an A- for everything, and A+ that it's good for families. And so really, I believe that one is primarily coming right down to where the location is. So let's go over to Realtor.com real quick. And Realtor.com doesn't give us a good idea for Central Tucson. They're talking stuff all the way up here to Flowing Wells and kind of going way down south to Rita Ranch, which is definitely not Central Tucson. So I don't know what these guys are thinking. But let's actually go put in Broadmoor Broadway and see if we can find anything in Realtor.com for that one. The medium price is going to be $416, and you can get an idea of what the styles are here too by looking at this. Now the Sam Hughes area is a little bit bigger. Let's go see if what we've got here for Sam Hughes. And Sam Hughes is probably our most popular area that people ask about. Okay, so the medium price that they have here in Sam Hughes is going to be about $580, right? So most of the prices that we see in this area are going to be in the high sixes on up, right? And so you can see the styles of homes that you get down there. They're actually really cool. And again, you're going to find a lot of historical homes in these areas. And what's interesting too about these historic homes is that if it is designated as historic, then you're open to a tax break from the Pima County Assessor. So do me a favor, if you will, and in the comments below, just type the name of your favorite neighborhood, because what we want to do is start a series of walking tours of different neighborhoods. And I'd like to at least start with some of the neighborhoods that some of our viewers are wanting to know more about. And by the way, Darcy and I get calls every single day from people who are looking to make that move to Tucson, and we absolutely love it. And if you're thinking of that move, just pick up the phone, send us a text message, shoot us an email, and we'd love to be your boots on the ground. So go ahead and check out one of my other videos. It's called The Cost of Living Here in Tucson, and that'll give you a good idea of how the costs of living here in the old Pueblo compare to how they are where you live right now in your neck of the woods. And then a couple other things too. In the description below, I'm going to put a link to our home buyer's roadmap so that you can have that as a reference, whether you use us to help you buy a home or not. But what that'll do is it outlines the different steps that are involved in buying a home here in Tucson so that you don't get lost along the way. And then the other thing that I'm going to put down there in the description is a link to the historic homes brochure that is published by Tucson. So I'm going to put that down there, and we'll see you in the next video.